Is the mic on?
Yes, we can hear you,
Okay.
Senator.
Good afternoon to my colleagues, to the people of this territory, to the testifiers. I unfortunately am late today and I still have to go. When you live in a territory where dentists are limited and you have to have oral surgery, sometimes we have to, these committee meetings, we have to make adjustments. That's an advocacy for more dentists in the territory. What I would like to say is that I am a firm supporter of celebrating and enlightening the people of this territory when it comes to our culture, when it comes to our history. But I am going to be honest today. I'm a little bit concerned as to, this is Black History Month, and we live in a community that is predominantly Black, descendants of slaves. And yet here we are, years later, still just fighting to make sure that our children get Virgin Islands history on a consistent basis in their educational system. You know, we are one of the most unique people under the American flag, where I could guarantee you there is not another all-Black legislature under the US flag. It doesn't exist anyplace else except in these Virgin Islands territory. But yet here we are still having these types of conversations in this day and age. And it's very disappointing and very concerning to me as an individual. We spend quite a bit of time trying to figure out how to divide ourselves as opposed to recognize our uniqueness and unify as one and propel these Virgin Islands further and in a more prosperous way. And even within this institution, when you have situations where you have a majority of the members trying to suppress the minority of the members, even to situations like that are very concerning to me. So those are battles I'll fight another day. But what I will say to you is that the question I want to ask, and this one is more of a financial one. When we passed this bill to spend $1 million for the celebration of the 175th anniversary, at that time, I co-signed on it. I was very happy because the message that was given to us at that time is we're doing very well. We're doing great. We have money. We have COVID money coming in. We have money from everywhere. But after the State of the Territory, our governor did come out and share with us that we only have 4 or 5 days of cash on hand, and we really are in a very interesting state. So for me, from a financial standpoint, I'm going to ask the question, so maybe I could better understand what is prudent and what might or might not be. If we were in a situation before that we had $100 million at our disposal, I'm just tossing out a number. I'm not saying this is a number. If you had a business that had $100 million at their disposal and that is what they were sharing, but then now 10 months later, you realize you have $10 million cash flow, would you still expend the same amount for the same event? Now, I am supporting the event, but as a responsible legislator, I am asking a financial question. And if any of you could share with me your thoughts on that, because from when we signed off on it to where we are now, I'm hearing a totally different message. So is it prudent to now invest $1 million plus into a celebration, or can we find other ways to potentially curtail the cost, but still celebrate the event and still be fiscally responsible? That is the question I would like to pose to the testifiers today.
I can answer. I will proudly answer. Senator Francis Heiliger.
Yes.
The funding of the $1 million comes from the Diageo Community Trust Fund that's established for these and similar activities within the community.
Time.
And so this funding has not a thing to do with the other funds that are available and the level of funding in any of the general funds of this Virgin Islands government. It is a different set of money.
I am aware about the funding, but I'm asking about fiscal responsibility. Because if we're able to do one thing one time, can we divide the monies? Because if we're going to potentially not have available funds to do other things, and this is going to be a fund that's going to be drawn upon to do other community activities where potentially the government might have been able to offset something. That's what I'm asking overall. So you think at this time it's okay for us to move ahead, from your opinion, that this is perfectly fine?
Yes,
That's
because
all I'm trying to get.
Senator, I could tell you as a resident of St. Croix that the people here want the celebration, and I know that the people in St. Were you at the, Senator, I shouldn't ask you the question because I don't ask questions, but anybody who came to the fairgrounds this weekend, anybody who were there from the east side to the west side, and the vastness of culture and the people who engaged at all levels, whether it was food, art, whatever it was, livestock. All I'm saying is, then the people don't want, you're saying that they don't want, we shouldn't celebrate.
Please hold on, Mr. Chair, work with me. Ma'am, hold on for a second. I am fully in agreement of us promoting our culture. So this is a money question for me. That's all I'm asking. So the myriad of things, I am a biggest cheerleader of it. I saw a video this weekend on TikTok where a young lady talked and she said, where's the culture in the Virgin Islands? And that hit my soul to the heart, because I live here. I grew up around it. I understand our culture. But when you ask me to sit in this seat, I have to ask the necessary questions across the board, okay? So I'm not questioning about our culture. I support it 100%. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the time, and I got some response from one of the testifiers.
Thank you, Senator Francis Heileger. And I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Alma Francis Heileger.
The testifiers and the people. I wanted to chime in when Chairman Burke spoke in reference to the website. I wanted to know, what is the cost associated with creating this website? I did see the outline of all the things that are going to be on it. And as well, also, is it going to be long-term? After this commemoration is over, will this website still be maintained and be up for information to be continuously read, as, you know, our emancipation is going to be continuous? The date, it'll keep clicking. How does that work?
Thank you, Senator Francis Heileger. And that's a great question. That is the exact intent. That's why there's so many details attached to the website, because we intend for it to remain even when this committee concludes. Hopefully, if we'll find a way where another entity can take it over, but it'll be available beyond December 31st, 2023. It'll still be live.
The main question was the cost. How much are we spending for it?
So far, we've attached a budget of $10,000 for our website, which includes operating a donation button and having other interactive features on it.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Senator Alma Francis Heileger. Point of inquiry, Senator Alma Francis Heileger.
Thank you. Also, Senator Carla Joseph has a point of inquiry as well. Well, a point of clarification. I want to ask a question. You know, I know people are, I'm going to keep drilling down on this money thing, because I am all for us throwing a party, and I am all for us celebrating our culture, but I still need to understand the money. Okay? That's my job. I heard Mr. Turnbull say he paid for his T-shirt. So you said you bought a T-shirt? That's what I heard you say? You bought two. Okay. So now that popped a question in my head. Does this committee have a treasurer? And if we're donating this money, when we are going to be selling items, who is going to be keeping accountability for items that are being sold and the potential additional profit coming back into this committee? Who's tracking all of that? Because if we're putting out the money to buy the things and they're now being sold, I wasn't aware that there was a sales component outside of the plate. So if there is one, I would like to know accounting of that and what additional potential profits you guys have already projected as to what additional you will get or make on that $1 million to help sustain or even continue this committee. Thank you.
We're not making profit on anything, Senator. What we have done was, let me just say, we've been smart enough to know the limitations of the funds of the government. And what we did, thanks to Commissioner Bosetti Bruce, is in realizing that part of our responsibility to promote our brand and to promote these activities, we have to sell things. And to that extent, she created a special account where all the money, and she functions as the treasurer. All the money is deposited right back into that account so that we could have access to it for any other need that we may have down the road. Ain't no profit.
Well, I would like to know, this is the first time I'm hearing about any of this. And this is where you caused me to keep drilling down on these financial questions, because as the individual that voted to give this money, this is information I should have been aware of. And what if I didn't ask this question? Would I have known? Because based on what you're saying, the finance commissioner is acting as a chair for did the committee decide and vote to do this? And do we get an accounting of how much money we are going to make? Because if we already give this money, any additional monies that come in, we would have to get an accounting or need an accounting of it. So this is a little bit concerning to me, because I'm really trying to understand how this dynamic is working from a structural and a financial or even a treasurer standpoint. Thank you.
Senator Joseph, point of clarification.
I'm okay.
Okay, good.
My questions is going to be specifically geared towards the website and finances. As it relates to the website, what was the rationale between choosing the name VI 175 outside of We Knowing? Because I'm looking at it from a marketing standpoint. I think for me, I have boiled this whole thing down to what is going to be left behind to somehow represent what we spent all this money on. And from what I'm hearing, it's going to be this website that's going to be left to showcase the events and historical information, and it could be utilized not only by the people of this territory, but from others outside looking at it to get and garner information as to who we are as a people, VI, and our emancipation. What was the rationale behind the name? And why didn't we go along with maybe something like more like VI Emancipation, Virgin Islands Emancipation, so it could have been more from a marketing standpoint so people could better know what it was about? Chairwoman Burke?
From a branding, Carol Burke. Senator, from a branding perspective, I am not a webmaster, but that was the suggestion of our webmaster to get going. If we do decide to change the name, that is nothing difficult to do, because the website has not yet been launched.
Okay. Okay. I'm just giving a suggestion. VI Emancipation.
Thank you.
Something like that.
Our email.
The other question.
Okay, sorry.
Huh? Yes,
no, I was saying
what
that
did you
our
say?
email, though, is freedom@vi175. But I will take your suggestion to heart and have the committee review it tomorrow.
I'm looking at it long term.
Okay.
I'm looking
1
long
minute.
term for using this site. My other question, when are you going to have an election for a treasurer? That's what I would like to know.
We don't need a treasurer, Senator. We don't. All of the committee operates under the office of the governor. We don't operate outside of the government. We don't.
But then why, ma'am, why do you need a chairperson? Why do you need a secretary? As a committee itself, there are day-to-day operations that you guys are doing that there's going to be checks and balances that you need internally. And when I heard Mr. Turnbull, when you purchased your T-shirts, did you purchase them with cash, credit? How did you pay for them?
I purchased cash.
Okay. There I go. So as a cash transaction that happened in this situation, who was there to account for that cash transaction? Because I'm sure Ms. Mercedes Bruce, who's the Commissioner of Finance, was not there to deal with the treasury part of it. So who dealt with that cash transaction?
We have the option. With his transaction specifically, I don't know. But we have the members of the committee who were manning our display. And we had the option to pay cash or
Senator, your time has been called.
Credit card.
But let me wrap up. I'm about to head out. May I ask any of the members of the committee, I know Ms. Joseph was here, Mr. Jackson, do you believe that this organization needs a treasurer?
Our chairman has articulated the process to which he has made arrangements with the Office of the Governor. I do believe that in our organization there should be officers. We may be indifferent in that regards, but I see the wisdom in what you're suggesting.
Yes, I appreciate you seeing that wisdom. So I would make that recommendation that you guys do have a treasurer to keep track of this money. This is government funds that I take very dearly because I'm also responsible for it. And when you have these little nuances of cash coming in here, there, and everywhere, you have to have someone there on a day-to-day to keep track of the inventory, as well as to make sure that these cash are being held and accountable for, even when you transfer them over to Ms. Bruce. Thank you very much for the time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
Chair,
Senator
can I
Alma Francis
clarify
Hidegger.
something that was placed on the record?
Please proceed.
Miss Lucy Nunez at the Department of Finance moves. This was our first event, Senator, first. She is the one who's going to function to help us ensure that the process, that there's an accounting process in place at every single activity that we have. If the committee deems that it needs somebody to function, to make sure that the money is collected, blah, 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 that will be the will of the majority of the body, and that is the way we will proceed. This was our first event.
Thank you for that information, Chair.